¿Qué lo que, familia? I hope everything's going well. Ojalá que todo el mundo está pasando un buen día on this somewhat of a rainy day from what it looks like. Nada como un tea during this type of weather. But familia, as I sit here and I just want to just tell y'all, you can do anything you put your mind to. What do I mean by that? So, the other day, I was at work and I was talking to one of my buddies over there. And we just having a conversation, normal, regular guy conversation, right? And I'm telling him about how if you've ever gone a while without entertaining yourself, I should say, entertaining yourself. What do I mean by that? For us men who get active sexually or who are sexually active, about 85% of men, and I could be wrong with the percentage, be entertaining themselves in that way, pleasuring themselves in that way. So I tell them, hey, when that, how long has it been for you? He tells me, hey man, it's like every so often for me. He asked me the same thing. I told him it's been probably about like 3 months going on, 3 months about. He's like, what? Man. And I told him, have you ever heard of semen retention? Semen retention? What's that? So I explained to him about all the benefits that one gets of doing that. And there's so many benefits when one does that. Not just for men, but for women. But I'm speaking for the men because that's all I know, of course. So it's all in the mind. And that's exactly what he was saying. It's just a mind thing, familia. You know, you could think about something different and getting yourself away from that. Because I'm telling you, I used to be so bad at that. And from what most guys, I'm like one of the few who started entertaining myself in my late teens. Like I was 19, I might have been 20. And I just remember when I first did it, right? And I've been sexually active during that time, but I just ain't never did that. So when I did it, it opened up a whole new world for me. I used to be the type to lie and stuff. I used to lie all the time, familia. I'm at a point now that I want to be more truthful with my words. I want to just speak truth, and no lies around here. So I remember with my first ever, she was already sexually active. I remember when I first started and stuff, it was, well, you know, let me say this for another day, okay? This has nothing to do with what I was just saying. Back to the subject of semen retention, I was telling him that, hey man, once you start doing it, like, even me myself, there still be times I have like those little thoughts and stuff, like, hey, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, just do it this time. But nah, because I already set a date for myself. And once you start doing that for me, you get so much better at it. And I might not even do it that date. I might pass the date that I had put myself to do. I might pass the date. I messed up on my word. I might pass the date that I had originally put myself for. Definitely. I feel like it's gonna happen because now I'm at a point in my life where I don't need it, and yo no lo pienso. I don't think about it. I don't. It doesn't even register in my brain like that. And I can say I'm the only one in my family, the only muchacho in my family who don't even do it like that. I'm the only man in my family who don't even mess with that. I don't, because the other men in my family, they need it to relieve stress, to release it, to release what they're going through, you know? But nah, not me. I used to be so bad with that, familia. There was times I used to be late to my classes to work. And I would always make excuses. Times when I was even late on going out with dates with friends. Times that I would do it with my friends just being in the other room. I mean, of course, I'll be quiet about it, but still, like it was like that. It was that bad. Going to them bathrooms by myself and just locking the door. Times when our bathroom doors in my old house, when I stayed when me and my family had stayed together, the bathroom door that me and my brother had, it was a point in time where that door wouldn't even lock. I would do it there. And mind you, familia, I was still sexually active. This is what I was telling this guy. I was like, it was so bad, man. Like, the female that I had before my fiance / future wife it would be a point she could be done. And I'd be like, I'm not done. We're going to keep going. And we kept going. Now, mind you, if it was a point that she was like, no, I really can't go, okay, I'll stop. But then I'll probably, like, go to the bathroom or something. Or the times when we go in the car, or we're in the car, and she tells me done, I'm like, okay, all right, I'll stop. One time, true story, I kid you not. It was a situation that did happen. The lady just didn't want to do it no more. And I was just like, that's fine. I was just like, excuse me 1 minute. I go back to the front of my driver's seat, and I finish myself off. While she's still being in the back seat, she just was tired. What I was saying, she was tired, and I understood that, so I was like, but I'm not tired. I gotta do what I gotta do. Cosas así, familia. I was bad in the head, okay? Sick in the head. My little late night cruise going over this chick's house. Well, it was actually her boss's house. She would have her late night. She would work there late nights, taking care of the people who are like needy, the people who need personal care. So that's what she would do. So she would spend the night there. I'll go over there, do my thing with her. I'll leave. And at times I'll either go to the gym, work out, go back home, do what I gotta do. Or at times I'll leave her place, I'll leave her workplace, is what I meant to say. And then I'll go back to my place and finish myself off. Even though I just had some. And there might have been 2 or 3 rounds. Most of the time it was 2 rounds. It was 2 rounds because it was so late at night. Like, even I knew I had to be asleep because it was a certain time I had to wake up and leave just so I wasn't alerting nobody there. So it's cosas así, familia. Like, it's just certain times I wish that didn't have to happen, because it's like those are the things where your innocence get taken away, familia. And for us guys and stuff, for men, we're in a point that we need to be sexually like that. Like, we need to just have something like that in order to just release stress, in order to just to release everything. And that's not how we should be taught. We shouldn't be taught like that. I was taught like that from my dad. He probably was taught like that from his dad. Most likely was. Mi abuelo. That man was a true player. Okay, definition of it. He was pimping. That's what I like to say. Me and my mom, coming from where she came from in the Dominican Republic, that saying goes as like, un dominicano no se puede contener. Un dominicano no se puede contener means you can't obtain the Dominican. Like, you can't contain him with just you. And I feel like that's not true. It's not true. It's not true at all. We was just taught wrong. We was taught wrong, familia. You could be with one person. Now, I'm not saying that there ain't women out here that you just gonna be like, oh no, I'm not attracted to her. Like, oh no, she's not beautiful. This and third. No, I'm not saying that because that happens to everybody. It's everybody. But that doesn't mean that you have to go and cheat on your wife or cheat on your husband, ladies. Cheat on your spouse, cheat on your girlfriend, whatsoever. You ain't gotta do none of that, familia. And even if she don't want to give you none, you don't have to pleasure yourself in order to just be satisfied, familia. I know sometimes you might be in a situation where y'all just arguing constantly, bickering and stuff and whatnot, right? And it's understandable, like, because like I said, I still get those thoughts, and this is why I'm preaching like this right now. This is why I'm speaking about this right now. We get those thoughts at times that it's like, well, you know what, shoot, hey, you don't think I can't entertain myself? Okay, bet. Go in the room. We can't think like that, familia. We just can't. No podemos pensar así. We gotta change that and focus on something else. Focus on something else. I'm trying to adjust my seat over here a little bit. We gotta focus on ourselves, familia. We gotta focus on like the things that make us happy, that's not sexually happy. Things that doesn't involve sex, things that doesn't involve pleasuring ourselves. Because when you start doing that, familia, your whole shift changes for the better. Because now you know that you don't need to depend on that in order to be satisfied. You don't need that. There's other things in this world that you can do to satisfy yourself, to satisfy your hunger, to satisfy where you need. And sometimes it could be as well you just living too much within your flesh. Even that's another thing I want to tell y'all, familia. Fasting, oh la la. If you want to hear this, I don't care. Fasting gives you a lot of positive things, familia. Fasting does. It gives you positive things because it just heals your body. It does. It heals you from within, and it sacrifices your flesh to the point that you ain't got to think about certain things like that. You ain't got to think about having sex with somebody. You ain't got to think about, oh, my sexual pleasures. You ain't got to think about addiction. Like, it takes away addiction. Whatever it is you're addicted to, familia, whether it's porn, whether it's weed, whether it's cigarettes, whether it's alcohol. Fasting kills all of that. It does, if you do it the right way. I remember the longest fasting I've ever done. Man, it was probably about like a cool week. About like a cool week. And I knew I could have gone longer. Because the longer you do it, the repetition, it's like the more you do the repetition, the better you get at it. Y eso es lo que pasó conmigo. That's what happened with me. So, that being said, familia, I just want you guys to know that you don't need to be doing that to yourselves. Familia, men, we don't have to do that. We need to actually stop doing that. We need to speak out more on semen retention. We need to actually let the world know, be educated on that. I'm 28 years old, and I'm glad to be at this age and be young enough to be able to preach this, to be able to tell you about this, because I'm the only one in my family that believes that I know about this. I don't think none of them know about this. I remember I had talked with my brother about it a long time ago when I told him I wanted to start doing it. He was like, oh my goodness, you're going to be so mad. You're going to be so mad. And I can understand why he would say that. I could understand it because how I was back then, and that's the thing. I knew how I was back then. Now, mind you, I wish that he would have been more supportive. I would have, but it's all good. Sometimes you ain't gonna have nobody to support you in this familia. Don't try to even, if you have those family members that you know for a fact they ain't gonna support you, you can't look for support. You can only look for the support within yourself to tell yourself, look yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, if you want to change so bad, what are the things I must sacrifice in order to do so? Familia, I used to make videos, familia. I feel like some of you men probably did the same thing as me, probably still doing the same thing. I used to make videos of my sexual activity. I used to make videos of it. Because then I would use those videos to then pleasure myself when I ain't had that person with me. I would. And then I would want the person to do the same thing. But see, look, a real man, right? A real man will pleasure his woman and let his woman know that, hey, you don't need that to be satisfied. You don't need that video to be satisfied. You just thinking about me. For when I come back, when I come and see you and I be with you, we'll have our moment. Because not everything has to be recorded. Not everything has to be recorded, familia. And then you teaching your woman to do that, to record, to be on camera, and then sending her that video so she can have pleasure with herself, right? Familia, sometimes we getting our women, instead of our women not being as sexually invested, we're making them more invested. And sometimes that can lead a woman away from you. It can. And I say that because of my past. I say that because of me used to doing that to other women and stuff. And it was one that I was with that I just thought one day we was going to be together. Never happened. Never happened. And it is what it is. It is what it is, familia. But if you have that mindset and stuff, because it's like what that saying goes, men lead. Men lead. When it's a man and a woman, the man got to lead. The men got to lead and teach his woman things. Now, I'm not saying for the women, you can't teach your man to do things and whatnot, and the man can't learn from you, because the man must learn from his woman as well. I believe in that. The man must learn from his woman, and I believe in a partnership. I do. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, the man's got to lead his family. And I just want y'all to know, familia, that we got to be better on this. Necesitamos. We have to. So, I just want y'all to know, man, hey, start being aware of what you're doing. Look up semen retention. Semen retention. That's the main word that you'll find so many benefits of it. And we need to start speaking more out on it for the men out here who suffer with porn addiction, suffer with watching pornography, suffer with just with their sexual pleasures, their lusts, all of that. Because you can change. Don't let nobody ever tell you you can't change. I hope this video reaches you. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment, and make sure you share. If not, todo bien. I love you either way. Dale. Hasta luego, familia.